Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at a video where China and Russia go to war. Now, these two countries would probably never go to war in this scale because that would cause the end of the world most likely because neither of them would want to lose and that'd be bad for the rest of the world. But it'd be interesting to look at a scenario like this. Now, first thing I want to say is that China will not be attacking Russia. I'm simply making China red because they have more red in their flag, and blue for Russia because they have blue in their flag. That's my logic there, nothing else. And also, before we do start this video, I do want to say that I've been trying to do these videos in one take, uninterrupted, so I have less time that I have to spend on editing this, and more time I can spend on recording more videos, which is really fun to do, and I want to do that. So, yeah, let's jump right on into this. Now to start off, let's clearly set up this and like identify what's going on here. Cities, no cities. So China is at a very clear advantage here, and but I literally just said earlier, they will be getting an advantage anyway. They will go ahead and send their forces immediately taking a city of Russia's, as well as pushing out near the Mongolian area. They will see a lot of success over by North Korea here, as they will take yet another major city, one that I know the name of, but my brain's not telling me. But yeah, from here, they are seeing a lot of success. And Russia will have an immediate response to this, and that is them calling their ally of Belarus into this war. This is probably the thing they would do first, because Belarus would add the extra little bit of manpower that they could use to help them fight off against the Chinese. Anyways, from here it gets a little more complicated because more countries will definitely be joining this war. To start off, China will go ahead and add two countries to their little side here. And those two countries will go ahead and be Laos and Cambodia, as these two countries will kind of fall under the thumb of China. They're gonna be recruited for the same reason as Belarus, for extra manpower. From here, it kind of gets like a competition for countries to join our side. The most obvious country who will be joining the side is Ukraine, who is already at war with Russia. And then that will bring us over to Georgia, who will also join the war because they have land that Russia occupies. They see this as an opportunity to get back at Russia. Now we move on over to Central Asia, which will mostly stay neutral for now, except for Kyrgyzstan, which will choose the side of China. But Russia, they're going to get more allies than this. Not any in Europe because that doesn't make sense, but they're going to get a few allies over here in this region here. And the first country they're going to get is Afghanistan, weirdly enough. And this is because China will get yet another country to their alliance. I know I'm saying I'm adding countries to Russia's alliance, but yeah, Pakistan will be joining the side of China. And from here, we're going to see a controversial thing happening, at least for me to talk about. But if what's going on in this region weren't happening, this is probably what would happen. And from here, it's most likely that Armenia would join as well. I don't see a scenario where they don't, but yeah, this is now the new map we're looking at, and it has changed quite a bit. But the sides are still kind of skewed towards one side. And yeah, let's talk about these fronts really quickly. The blue team obviously has an advantage in regions that they have occupied. I honestly don't know what the front line in Ukraine looks like anymore, so I'm just gonna do something like this and just hope for the best. Honestly, I should probably keep up with this, but I don't because I don't have all the time in the world, unfortunately. So yeah, we're just going to be looking at this as I'm struggling to figure out why this is doing this. Anyways, from here, we also get to acknowledge their occupations in Georgia and Southwest Asia and Abkhazia. Now we can stop talking about that to head on over to Afghanistan, who is fighting with Pakistan, and obviously Pakistan's a little stronger, but they will see some troubles as well. Afghanistan is Afghanistan. This thing is hard to invade. They will see success over here in this panhandle, though, which will fall. And yeah, let's head back to China, who will go on a quest to recruit North Korea, because North Korea is probably the country that could go to either side here. They have ties with Russia, but their ties with China have lasted much longer, and are probably more beneficial to keep standing. I say as I'm cleaning up this map, don't mind me. But most likely, what we will see here is China getting another ally in the form of North Korea, which will kind of cause a whole bunch of these countries to debate whether or not they should join this conflict. However, for now, they will remain neutral. At this point, we head back on up to this front here with now greater manpower. They're going to see an even clearer advantage as they begin to kind of just sweep through this area, as the Russians really can't defend it. Even with the manpower boost, this is just so far out that it's hardly worth defending. From here, we will see this major city fall, and we're going to see a lot more land beginning to fall as well as that. But in the grand scheme of things, this stuff is probably not relevant to Russia in the grand scheme of things. So we're kind of just gonna see China having a field day here. Is China, not China, Russia can't really work to defend this because their capital's all the way over here, and that's where the front line is. So, yeah, would you want to cross a whole front line just to fight? No. So you're going to do your fighting elsewhere, as you're going to go ahead and force Kazakhstan to pick a side. Basically, what happens here is Russian forces kind of just enter. It's, oh, whoa. And, yeah, they're going to say, why isn't this map working? Let this map work. But seriously, we're going to see Kazakhstan being forced to join in on the blue team, as Russian forces kind of just walk in and, take over the government. Yeah, that's great. From here, Kazaki forces will be turned over to the border of Kyrgyzstan, where they will quickly invade and take the capital. And this is not good for the Kyrgyz because they've done absolutely nothing, and there they've gone losing their capital right off the bat. That is never a good sign for your front line in this region, especially if you are literally a mountain. But yeah, we're gonna see yet another country joining this war. This country will be Tajikistan because, of course, they have beef with a certain Kyrgyzstan. And so we're gonna see yet another front opening up against this poor little country, as Tajiki forces will enter from the south, taking this major city. And now we're gonna see Kyrgyzstan being obliterated, and we'll go ahead and capitulate. From here, the blue team could invade into China, but they don't want to do that yet because they could use the manpower advantage against Pakistan, at least for now. From here, we head on over to Georgia, which will get absolutely obliterated. This must definitely already happen, but I mean, we're covering it now, so it's going to happen now. And from here, we're going to see a manpower boost heavily helping out in Ukraine, as new major cities will fall under the control of the Russians. However, they won't be able to make key advances in regions like the Kiev region or the Kharkiv region over in the east. So, yeah, this is what Ukraine's left looking like. They're still standing strong at this point. Now, heading on over to East Asia again over here, we're going to see China continuing to have a field day, as they're kind of just going to do this and invade the ocean, apparently. I don't know why I was doing that, but, yeah, we're gonna see China kind of just doing that, which leads to this. And yeah, Russia is in a little bit of a panic right now. And so they're gonna basically do exactly the same thing they did to Kazakhstan, to Mongolia, and force them to join their side in the war. However, this won't really go exactly how Russia planned it, because China was already planning to invade into Mongolia. So yeah, Chinese forces kind of just dart through Mongolia and will immediately just destroy this thing. Poor Mongolia, bro. They just wanted to exist. From here, we're going to see the capitulation of Moldova. However, blue team forces will push in the far western areas over here and occupy a small portion of the country. From here, we see a new front opening up, as we're going to see a country joining this war, a country who has a pretty opposed government to China, and that country is none other than Vietnam, who has a bad history with China. And we're going to see that here, as they will go ahead and invade their neighbors with no problem whatsoever. They will very quickly push in and take the capital of Cambodia. And from here, they're going to cut Laos completely in two. And yeah, goodbye, Laos. You're just gonna lose your capital now and all this southern territory. And from here, Cambodia will lose all their coastline and will be forced into surrender. From here, southern Laos will surrender, and as well as this, we're going to see a lot of northern Laos falling over, as there's not really anything left to fight for here. China will quickly react, and they'll send some forces down here to fight off the Vietnamese, but this is not the priority, so it's not all too much, but it's still enough to push into Vietnamese territory. Not enough to conquer all of Southeast Asia, though. From here, we're going to see the Chinese recruiting yet another country to their alliance, and that is Myanmar, the best choice of all countries because this thing is definitely a compatible country with the entirety of Vietnam. They can totally take them on, and they're totally not going to collapse while they do that. Anyways, let's head away from them because a certain country has chosen to pick a side, and that country is Taiwan. Taiwan will join the war on the side of the blue team and will begin to wreck a whole bunch of Chinese stuff. And this is kind of a deciding factor, as a whole bunch of countries in East Asia don't want to see China expand, and Taiwan's kind of putting them in a position where they have to join up with this war. And so at this point, we're going to see multiple countries joining: South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, and yeah, Thailand will join. Malaysia will join. I don't know realistically which all these countries would join, but the war just shifted massively in the favor of the blue team. The blue team is kind of getting some looks because why are Japan and Russia on the same side? Why is Japan on the same side as Iran? Who knows? But yeah, let's head over to Pakistan. We're gonna see the region of Balochistan kind of just getting walked straight through by forces of the blue team. They're just gonna move in, and yeah, it's clear that the Pakistanis don't support this war. They don't want to be fighting this. It's not of their best interest, and Pakistan will very quickly begin to fall apart, as India may or may not be funding some rebels throughout this thing, maybe even these guys. But yeah, from here, we're going to see the forces from the blue team countries successfully landlocking. This is not Afghanistan. This blue blob is Afghanistan, but not the red one. And yeah, from here, we're going to see Afghanistan pushing back, completely liberating their territory over here. I don't know what is happening with this, but yeah, we're gonna see Afghanistan liberating their territory. From here, we're gonna see Afghanistan pushing into the regions over here where the population is Pashtun. I think that's what it's called. But yeah, it's like similar ethnicity to Afghanistan. They're gonna push into these regions here. And yeah, Pakistan's getting cooked, surprisingly. They have nukes, so that's probably concerning, but of course, nukes won't be used in this scenario. Heading on over to Ukraine, the huge relief of having countries in East Asia to fight China is helping, as they captured Lviv. They also captured that city, and that city. I know the names of most of those cities. One of these is Dnipro, that one's Kharkiv. Um, this might be Kherson. It could be another one, but I don't know. And then this is Kiev, of course. And yeah, from here we're gonna see Odessa falling, as well as this whole peninsula down here. And yeah, goodbye Ukraine. Ukraine will completely collapse. They wouldn't surrender, that's for sure. But that's gonna happen, and I don't want to have to come back to this front line, so we're just gonna say that happens. From here, we head on over to the Xinjiang area, where forces will begin to push in. They were debating this before, now they've decided they're actually doing it, and these two major cities will be occupied before they continue with the full invasion, which we'll come back to later. Heading down to Southeast Asia, yeah, this will happen. I read a little bit about like this area kind of becoming its own little separate thing. I don't know much about it, but I know it's like de facto not really operated by the core. Well, I mean, nothing really is in Myanmar, so yeah, but I mean, it kind of. I'm pretty sure it's like Somaliland where it acts like an independent country. I might be wrong though. Anyways, from here, we're gonna see these major cities in the south falling pretty easily to blue team forces, as Myanmar is not a like they're not competent whatsoever, and they're gonna lose all their coastline here. They Yeah, there's no point in even trying to help occupy this China. You're gonna flee out of there. Same with the remainder of Laos, and as well as a little bit in Vietnam, as they're gonna go on a defensive in their own territory. From here, China has to shift their focus quite a lot because they're at war with a lot more countries than they hoped to be at war with. And yeah, blue team forces did get a head start on red team forces in Korea, so we're gonna see the blue team pushing up all the way to Pyongyang, and they're gonna try to invoke a rebellion, but people are a little too scared to do that in North Korea because, well, it's North Korea. Pyongyang will not fall for now, and eventually a counteroffensive with help from China will happen, where this will be secured by the red team once more. Heading on over to this region here, though, we're going to see a small but impactful Russian offensive as they very quickly begin to snake along the coast as they will link up with Japanese forces in Sakhalin. If Sakhalin falls to Chinese forces, that gives a pretty easy gateway for China to invade into Japan, which is not good. But for now, that's not their focus, as Chinese warboats have just made a landing in Taiwan. They will make quick work of the southern area, but we'll see a lot of struggle in expanding from here as they experience high levels of guerrilla warfare, and just the will of the people is too strong. Eventually, they will quote unquote conquer most of the island, but they have no control whatsoever, and they're still fighting a bloody war here and probably has more losses than all this northern front here, maybe more than this alone. So, yeah, that's a lot to think about. But from here, we head back to South China, where we're going to see the defensive being broken as forces from Vietnam begin to push into China, now occupying this major city here before they're forced to stop. Now, we are going to head elsewhere because a certain country is thinking about entering on into this war. Yeah, you. You're thinking about joining. You know who else is thinking about joining? You. And yeah, you will be joining this war as you see a perfect opportunity to take down your worst enemies. And you, in this scenario, is India. I don't know the realism of India getting involved here, but their two worst enemies are two of the three countries remaining on the red team. So might as well join in. Might as well join in on the fun. And yeah, from here we're gonna very quickly see a collapse in southern Pakistan. This was probably about to see this collapse anyways, but it's gonna be accelerated here. From here, we're gonna see these forces very quickly pushing the Pakistanis out. I know Pakistan's not gonna get pushed around like this, but like I mean, they're not gonna do perfectly against this giant army that's facing them. No way. And eventually, we're gonna see this whole northern area falling over to the blue team. At this point, we're gonna see the surrendering of Pakistan as they hope to come out alive as a nation. And from here, China only has North Korea. There's no way you win this war, as Russia's gonna go ahead and keep recruiting more countries like Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan and Central Asia for extra numbers. And at this point, yeah, China, you're cooked, so you might as well back out of this war while you're ahead, right? But they're not gonna accept peace deals. Not yet, at least, as we head over to Mongolia, where this thing is gonna become a bloodbath, as Russian forces will sweep through the country, liberating the capital and pushing back. They also push back the Chinese forces in this region of Russia, and from here, they begin a massive counteroffensive in the east that is not really a massive counteroffensive, it's more so a normal sized counteroffensive. It's just gaining a lot of land because China is focused elsewhere at this point. From here, we head back to North Korea, where a small counteroffensive will be formed. It'll be effective at first, but eventually the South Koreans will force these guys back and will take this major city. From here, a spearhead will quickly form, isolating Pyongyang and this other city from the rest of North Korea. And the rebellion will actually come this time, and Kim Jong Un will probably find himself in a grave. I wonder if a certain somebody had anything to do with that. Anyways, back to the continuation of the Korean War. We're going to see forces from South Korea pushing up to the Chinese border, in most places at least, as they kind of fear moving into China. They really only joined this war to get rid of North Korea, But yeah, from here they're gonna stop. China's gonna respect this choice, and instead they're gonna kind of do something questionable, and that is invade into part of Russia, which they claim. So, yeah, whose side are you guys really on? Who knows? But, yeah, heading down back to these guys, we're gonna see a naval invasion of the island of Hainan, which will go pretty successfully as the whole island will fall under the control of the blue team. From here, yet another landing will happen in this peninsula here. At this point, the southern areas of China are beginning to fall under blue team control, and China is, falling apart. So they're gonna allow for some things to happen. The first thing is the complete relinquishment of land in this eastern Russian area, and the other thing of this peace deal is that they will recognize the independence of Taiwan. The only thing they ask in turn is that they don't annex anything in this region here, and that they also don't annex anything over in this region, and also that they get about half of Mongolia so they get their fair share. And I'm not going to do a peace treaty for this because that would take a while, and I don't want to have to edit this, as I said. These videos will probably get more edited as I do more of them because I'll have more time to do these quality stuff, especially when I have summer time to do that. But for now, that's not going to be happening. Anyways, that will actually go ahead and do that for this video. We will see the official surrender of China over to the Blue Team Alliance, of course. And yeah, this is the time in the video where I tell you that if you made it this far, please do make sure you subscribe. It helps out a lot. It helps us grow. And yeah, if you made it this far, you're obviously intrigued by the scenario, or you really hate me and you just want to like point out every single thing that I did wrong. I know some things are unrealistic in this, but yeah, I don't care. Anyways, if you do like the video, make sure you do like the video. It really helps out. It shows that you like more of this to see more of this content, and it tells me that I should record more of this and that it will help me out in the long run. Anyways, that's gonna do it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. The next one? The next one.